We're now on page 11, page views. Now these page view options are very important to help you work with projects depending on the complexity and what you have in a project. This very basic design that we can see here consists of only three objects: an oval at the top, an oval at the bottom, and this rectangle. But of course it all looks a bit more complicated, doesn't it? If we go to simple wireframe mode, so up to view and simple wireframe mode, we can now see the basic elements. No colours, no outlines, no fills, postscript fills, etc. Just the basic elements. Now when you start to work with complex designs, you'll ultimately find that being able to go down to wireframe mode is fairly important because it allows you to find the start and the end point, in this case, of a blend. So I'm actually blending from that oval to this oval, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a moment. But I can see the basic elements and I can get to them and I can actually edit them. Now, wireframe mode, if I go up to the next one, that now allows me to see all of the lines that exist. So the intermediate steps in that blend, but still no colours, no outline colours, no fills, etc., etc. Draft mode. If I go to draft mode, I now have a basic concept of the colour and a basic idea of the look. There's no fountain fills or postscript fills. You can see that it's one block colour at the bottom there. Look, this can be helpful if you're dealing with a very complex image, but really in reality it's a little bit of a leftover from the days of slower computers, and I would not be surprised if in the future we see a couple of these modes disappear. But it is handy in terms of speeding up your design process if it's very complicated. Again, normal mode is the next step up, so we'll go to view and then normal mode. So now we're starting to see some more of the postscript fills. You can see the outlines are not so crisp and clear, but at least I'm getting a better idea of what it looks like. Bitmaps would basically display in a very low resolution, but again it will help you speed up the re-rendering of your screen if it's a very, very complex or very large image. Enhance mode. Let's go to enhance mode. Enhance mode is the one that mostly you will work with, and it does look the best. Everything's crisp and sharp, and it anti-aliases your bitmaps, and you really do see a very nice look. So this is the mode you'll mostly work at, and it is the default mode. New to X5 is pixel mode. Now, let's go to pixel mode. You'll notice the picture didn't really change in its look until we begin to zoom in. So if I zoom right in here, we're starting to see at the pixel level. In other words, we can see what our vector image would look like as a bitmap. Now see how there's a nice solid blue, and then as it moves out, the blue is slowly fading out to white. That's what we call anti-aliasing. And it can be very handy, particularly for designs you're doing for the web, etc., to see how your images are going to look as a bitmap. Probably the mode you would choose to do a final check before you send off to your printer or whatever. F4, zoom back out. Now, F9 is a preview mode. So, for example, if you were in wireframe mode or one of these other modes and you pressed F9, you would see a premium display, full screen of what your design looks like. Now I can't do that, I'm working on double monitors and it comes up on the wrong monitor, etc. So yes, please do that and experiment with that as you run through this. And finally, Shift plus F9, a very, 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 can I stress it enough, handy shortcut. Let me show you. Oftentimes you want to go to simple wireframe mode, and then of course you want to go back to your premium mode. So I'll go back to enhanced mode. Now Shift and F9 remembers those last two things. So Shift F9 on my keyboard takes me back to wireframe, Shift F9 again back to enhanced. So you can see the advantage in toggling between those two. Well, basically, if I go now back to, I'll do it, Shift F9, I can take that little circle that's there, stretch it out like that, play with it a little bit, Shift F9 again, and as you can see, it changes the look of my design. This is a blend. Please do play with this a little. You'll have some fun just stretching it around and coming up with all sorts of different shapes and designs, and shortly you'll learn how I did that and how that actually works. So please jump in, try all the view modes, and certainly try the keyboard shortcuts and have a play, have some fun.